Welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, the only show that provides you with the best insight and information to everything Franklin County sports. And now here's your host, Bobby C. Hey everybody, welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report here on GCTV. I'm John Meisner, filling in for Bobby C this week. Unfortunately, Bobby couldn't make it. He left me in charge of the show this week because he's been battling a very bad sore throat and didn't want to hurt his voice any longer. So we'll hope Bobby gets well soon and wish him well. I'll be in charge hosting the show this week. I want to thank you all for tuning in this week here to GCTV. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors real quick. Lisa Alber from Lisa Alber Hearing Services, located on 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. My dad used to be an audiologist, so it's nice I have a little bit of understanding of that. Also want to thank Denny's Pantry on Federal Street in Greenfield. Not to be confused with, of course, the national chain, of course. Denny's Pantry always makes a good breakfast. And also the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant in Bernardston. I actually used to live in Bernardston, so they make good food there. Check it out sometime. Right in Bernardston off of 28B, exit 28B, right next to Antonio's Pizza. So, we've got a lot to get to here this week, so I won't waste any time. We'll get things started right now, shall we? Starting last week on Monday night, Pioneer Valley played the Red Raiders, and the Red Raiders got a good run late in the game. They got a much-needed 59-45 win over the Panthers in Northfield. Athol coach Den Beavis said he was very pleased with how everything worked out. We talked about having energy from the start, and they did. And they were able to do some good things defensively. Athol jumped out to a big lead earlier on. They were up 22-11 in the first quarter, and the Panthers climbed back and made it a good ball game. Pioneer shook off a slow start early. Troy Emond had 19 points and had 14 points from Jared Hubbard. So they looked very good. Had a double-digit win. And so we had that on Monday night. And also, we'll get to some other scores here. The Frontier boys landed a spot in the tournament. They had a big postseason win in a close game. It was a nail-biter at Goodnoe Gymnasium on Monday night. Frontier always has a good program for the boys and girls. The Thunder hit a few shots late, but Frontier was able to hold up with some clutch free throws. They came away with a 1-point victory, 57-56 over Turner's Falls. And like I said, the victory got the Redhawks into the tournament, so it was a huge win for Frontier. Frontier coach Ben Barshevsky said, "We don't take qualifying for the postseason for granted. They don't take it lightly at all. They had some rough years where they were on the outside looking in. And so it's nice to give these guys a taste of the tournament. So they wanted this one badly. They're a good program, but they needed a big win, and they got it. So I'll tell you a little bit about this. Peter Carey led the Redhawks with 21 points. Colin Boudreau had 13 points for Frontier. And despite having 24 points from Chase Novak for Turners, he actually had 4 threes in that game. Just fell a little short in the end. As they lose by 1 point, like I said, to Frontier. So close game, definitely a nail-biter. Probably one of the closest games Frontier's had all season, but they qualified for the tournament, so good for them. Good for them. They are in. We'll get just caught up on some other scores here on Monday. Franklin Tech beat Smith Folk 47-38. Franklin Tech got off to a slow start in this one. The Eagles rebounded from a big first quarter deficit to pick off Smith Folk, like I said, by 9 points. What changed in this game for Franklin County Tech, according to the coach Tim Artis, was that they changed their defense. They had to make adjustments. You know, they say the great ones make adjustments, and that's what Franklin Tech was able to do. They changed their defense from a man defense, they changed from a zone, to a man defense. They went on man. They had a good game plan against us, and we had to adjust. And they did just that. Garrett Cole had 21 points and 13 rebounds, along to go with 7 steals. Boy, he was a monster in this game, had a double-double with 7 steals. Bailey Young joined him in double figures with 13. Justin Littlewood had a big, strong all-around game with 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. So there you have it. Franklin County Tech won by 9 points. Hopkins with a big blowout win over Mohawk on Monday night. Anthony Moffett was on fire from deep. He had 4 3-pointers, but still wasn't enough. Lost 28 points. Boy, disappointing loss. Tyler Dubrow dropped in 5 points for Mohawk on the bright side, and Sean Davenport and Austin Summer each had 4 points. Nathan Waldron led Hopkins with 16 points in that one. So, disappointing loss for Mohawk. They hopefully they'll rebound next time. Greenfield beat Belchertown 67-56 in the boys basketball league. David Carey and Julius Brewington helped the Greenway pull away from the Orioles in an independent game at Nichols Stadium. It was tied at halftime, 31-31 each, but Carey had 25 points on the night. Brewington had 18 points and made some big shots along the way as the Greenway was able to pull away in the second half and come away with a double-digit victory. Mason Meadows, who's a big stud on Greenfield's team, probably arguably their best scorer, had 7 points and pulled down 14 rebounds for Greenfield. And Maverick Ward also had a solid night, 4 points and 11 rebounds, so had a lot of boards in that one. In hockey, on Monday night, Greenfield had a very nice game, dominating 4-0 win against Belchertown. Adam Bouchard, the Green Wave coach, thought they got off to a very slow start. They had just clinched a playoff berth on Saturday night, but they did not sit back throughout the entire game. They sat back early a little bit, but they picked up their intensity in the second period, and that led to 4 goals. They were all in one period. 4-0 was the final. Bouchard didn't think they came out of the gate strong, like I said. They thought they could just kind of breeze through and get by easily. Can't do it that way, folks. You got to play good for all 3 periods, and they were at least good for 2 out of the 3 periods anyway on offense and defense. But I have to say, though, I'll get to my thoughts on this in a second, but I'll give you the scoring here. Brian Bauman for Greenfield got on the first goal of the game, 1:03 into the second period. And a couple minutes later, Sean O'Sullivan found an open Adam Savoy in front of the net for kind of a tap-in goal to put Greenfield up 2-0. And it was kind of a flurry of goals in the second period. 30 seconds later, Bauman got the puck and drove to the left side of the net, drawing the attention of the Oriole defense as they committed to one side and rifled a pass across the crease to freshman Sammy Knight, who tapped it into a wide-open net. Greenfield had a 3-0 lead just a few minutes into the second period. They all kind of came in about a span of 4 minutes. But still, the fourth goal of that game later on in the period had O'Sullivan dishing out to Bauman. Made a sizzling cross-ice pass. I feel like I'm eating bacon when I say that. A sizzling cross-ice pass to Aiden Roche, who buried the shot to pretty much eliminate all hope for Belchertown. They had a 4-0 lead late in the period and held on. They finished the game with a 42-14 shot advantage over Belchertown, but you would have never thought that way after the first period. It was kind of a slow start for Greenfield. But I got to tell you this, folks. Their best player on this team, in my opinion, for Greenfield, has been the goaltending of Riley Drew. Let me give you a stat about him. This blew me away when I read about this. This is Riley's 11th shutout of his career in only 65 games played in his high school career. I mean, that's amazing. Now think about this. That's 11 shutouts in 65 games played. That's about 1 shutout every 6 games or so. That's outstanding no matter what league you play in. I don't care if it's high school, college, or NHL, whatever. That is outstanding. 11 shutouts in 65 games played. I don't know what Riley Drew's, goals are for college or if he wants to continue playing hockey or athletics, but I think if he tried out for hockey at the college level, there's a good chance he might just make it. He's an outstanding goalie for Greenfield. And even Adam Bouchard was happy about him. He said it's amazing, like I said, for a high school player to reach that plateau. He's working as hard as he can. He definitely makes it easier for his team, that's for sure. It always gives a coach a lot of confidence. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by Philippe in the booth there, but it always gives a team a lot of confidence when their goaltender can, give you a chance to win every night, and that's exactly what Riley Drew has done all season long for the Green Wave. They're back in action. They were back in action later that week, Wednesday night. So with that, speaking of Monday night, I'll wrap this up for the Monday portion before we get to Tuesday. Speaking of things that happened Monday night, there was at the Greenfield School Committee meeting at the John Zahn Center this past week. Good news to report for the local high schools. There's a proposition of a football co-op that could potentially combine Turners Falls, Mohawk Regional High School, and Pioneer Valley Regional into one big co-op, which got a unanimous vote to approve Greenfield as the host school for this co-op. This is great. This is wonderful news for Franklin County because, as a lot of you may know, Turners Falls didn't have a high school team this past season. They had to combine with Mohawk. This move by making Greenfield the host school is going to make it a lot easier for Turners especially because it was a pain for them to have to commute. The commute was the biggest problem here from last season. They had to commute 35 minutes to go to Mohawk and vice versa. Mohawk had to go 35 minutes to practice on the Turners field. So by making Greenfield the host city in the co-op that's going to be proposed, this is going to, for one thing, keep Turners more involved, but it'll also make things a lot easier to commute. So it'll be a lot easier for the students and the parents to watch their kids play because, think about it this way. Last season it was hard just because, not only did Turners not have a team for themselves, but it was very inconvenient. Parents had to travel right after they get out of work, had to rush to get their kids ready. It's just too much, too inconvenient. So at least this makes it easier with Greenfield being the host school. So I was happy about that. Jordana Harper was happy about it. Mike Kucheski, who is the athletic director of Greenfield, approved of this. And so I'm happy to see this, though. I really am. So good job. Good job to everybody involved for this. But yeah, I'm happy about this when I read this. So good to see. Good to see. Yeah, this really says a lot about our community. We want to keep the high schools involved. We want to, give everybody a chance, make it convenient for everybody. It really says a lot about the community. We really wanted Turners and Mohawk and Pioneer and Greenfield, for that matter, to stay together and form this nice co-op program. Now, it's still got to get approved by February, I believe it is. The whole, we just call it the PVIAC, but the Pioneer Valley Interscholastic Athletic Conference was who they worked with to get this approved. The new co-op would need to pass a vote of athletic directors and would also need approval by the MIAA's Eligibility Review Board to compete as a program beginning this fall. But I have no reason to think why they wouldn't approve of it. So I have the utmost confidence it will get approved. So we'll cross our fingers that happens. So that's probably the biggest news to come out of this week is the talk of them becoming a co-op, which is nice. So we'll have some more football in the fall for next season. On to Tuesday this week, the Franklin County Tech Eagles on the girls' side are having a great season. They had a dominating win against Gateway, 50-15, blowout win by 35 points. Joe Gamache has done a very nice job coaching Franklin County Tech this season for basketball. People always knew he could coach football and wrestling, but he hadn't coached basketball in many years until this season. But he's proven just how versatile he is. He's taken that team to the promised land. He's had a great season. They love playing for Coach Gamache. I know him a little bit. He's a good guy. So he's done a nice job. He said of that win against Gateway, we came in with a good approach, and the girls had some goals they wanted to accomplish. And I think it's safe to say they accomplished all those goals when you win by 35 points. Isabel Duga led the way for Franklin County Tech. She had 9 third-quarter points in that one. She led all scorers with 16 points. And Jocelyn Crowningshield had 13 points and 10 steals. I can't remember the last time I heard a basketball player getting 10 steals, so very impressive. To limit a team to only 15 points is just complete domination. So great defensive effort by the Eagles. Jordan Hurlbert also had 13 points and 9 rebounds. She had 8 steals herself, so everybody was all over in this one on the defensive end of the floor. Desiree Doan had 6 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals. Emily Ryan had a great interior defensive game, had 11 rebounds and 5 blocks for the Eagles. And they sit at 11-3 as of Tuesday night. And Gamache said we kind of control things in our own, we control our own destiny. That's what I tried to say. Got to get my words straight here. Yeah, they got up to a great start this year. They were 5-0 through the league schedule, but now they just got to finish strong and hopefully have a good playoff run, and hopefully they'll bring a championship to Franklin Tech. So, but yeah, I've been impressed with Gamache. I follow him on Facebook. He's really proud of his team with the defensive effort they've played with all season long. Like I said, Isabel Duga has been a beast on defense. Jordan Holbert's been great. Desiree Doan as well. It's been a whole team effort, really. That's why they're so good. They play as a team, So that's great to see. So it's good to see that the Eagles are having a nice season. And continuing on Tuesday night, close game between Frontier and Pioneer. It was a 1-point win that literally came down to the final seconds. Marie Diamond got to the free throw line. She had gotten fouled with about 6 seconds left and made 2 of probably the biggest free throws of her young career. And she got the Red Hawks to a 49-48 victory in an independent contest. She was very confident she was going to make those shots late in the game, those free throws. We'd been practicing foul shots a lot. She felt confident. She had gotten her form down pretty well, and she didn't want to second-guess herself, and she didn't. She made big-time clutch free throws. She made the first one, and the crowd erupted, but she knew she obviously had to make the second, and she did. She felt like everything was on the line, and we didn't want to lose this game. It was a rare situation in basketball where you're down by 1 and you have to make free throws with a few seconds left, and it was intense. So she definitely felt the pressure, but she responded with good pressure. So good job, Diamond. Good job, Marie. Good to see. And so after she made those 2 free throws, I'll recap the end of this here for you because it was really exciting. The Panthers were fouled, but they missed free throws themselves. They couldn't respond. They missed the front end of a 1-and-1. They called timeout, but they couldn't get a shot off after grabbing an offensive rebound, and that was it. So they win by 1 point, 49-48, like I said. Paige Loftman had 21 points and 15 rebounds. That was a dominating performance for the Panthers. And to go along with 8 steals. Frontier called Paige a beast, just an absolute beast with those numbers, like I said. There's a lot of good defensive players in this region. There really are. These kids understand it takes defense to win games. It's a cliche, but hey, defense wins championships, defense wins games. And these kids have definitely proved it, which is nice to see. Stephanie Scoville had 7 points. Sarah Johnson scored 6 points on a couple three-pointers, which is good to see. We've talked about Scoville a lot in this program. Marie Diamond had 13 points, like I said, and 2 of those points came at the free throw line on the free throws. And some double-digit efforts from a couple of other players as well. And 8th grader Caitlin Trudeau, an 8th grader, scored her first points for the Panthers, finishing with 4 points. Good for her. Good to see that. It's nice. So like I said, Diamond had 13 points. Let's see, Mackin had 12 points, and Sobieski had 11 points in that one. So good to see. Good to see. Tight game, close win. Continuing on here as we go to wrestling, something I'm not exactly fit for, but it's funny. I went to East Hampton High School, and we didn't actually have a wrestling team for whatever reason. Can't exactly explain why, but it's popular here in Western Mass, and it's popular in Franklin County. The Mahar wrestling team finished this season undefeated with a perfect 4-0 mark, so good for them. That's incredible. Got a great wrestling team there. They capped off the regular season title, defeating Franklin Tech, Athol, Frontier, and Granby to claim their championship, so that's great. Good for them. Franklin Tech's Kyle Brunel was a winner recently at 138 pounds as his weight, and Josh Brunel, his brother, joined him in the winner's circle with a first period pin at 132 pounds. I'm a silly guy. Every time I see winner's circle, I don't think of wrestling. I'm a game show guy. I think of the $25,000 pyramid or the $100,000 pyramid nowadays. I wonder how those guys would do if they played the winner's circle on TV, but we'll never know. But at least in the winner's circle in wrestling, they're great. So I don't know. The things I think of when I read this stuff, I'm crazy. To go from one crazy guy to another this week, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, this past Tuesday night for the girls basketball for Greenfield, they closed out a 52-23 win, and the Green Wave are postseason bound. With that blowout win, Katie Hazelton, we've been talking about her a lot on this show, had 23 points and 12 steals to go along with 6 assists. They cruised past Putnam, like I said, 52-23. Greenfield's 10-4 overall in the season, and they punched their ticket to the Western Mass Division III playoffs, which is nice to see. Amber Bergeron continued to play well in her run of varsity games. She had 10 points and 5 rebounds. Lilia Kackelmeyer and Rachel Provost had 7 points apiece, and Tess Rancourt pulled down 7 boards for the Green Wave. So good to see the ladies punching their ticket to the playoffs. We'll see how well they do, and we'll keep you updated on the playoffs as they come around. Smith Academy wins a tight win over Turner's Falls in the girls' basketball, 47-44. They got a go-ahead Beckett in the waning seconds, but Smith Academy held on by 3 points. Turner's actually led going into the fourth quarter up 6 points, 33-27, but the Falcons got hot at just the right time offensively and outscored the Thunder by a 20-11 margin in the final few minutes to capture the road victory. Taylor Green had 15 points on the night for Turner's. Kendra Campbell, who is Bobby's niece, who we've actually filmed as part of our Game of the Week, she had 10 points as well. Steph Peterson had 6 points, and Lindsay Whiteman had 5 as well. And speaking of Kendra Campbell and the Turners team, you can actually catch the Turners McCann Tech game on our YouTube page, which we filmed this past week as part of our GCTV's Game of the Week. I'm telling you, just filming Kendra Campbell, boy, she's a baller. She's got some good skills. She really does. Good ball player, and you can catch her on our YouTube page, like I said, as part of our GCTV Game of the Week. So we'll get to check out plenty of her, and hopefully get some more of her in the playoffs as the future goes along. In girls swimming this past week, Turner's Falls crushed Renaissance in Springfield 75-25 in the Constitution League. Hannah Marchewska captured first place in the 200-yard freestyle, touching the wall at the end with a time of 2 minutes and 57 1/4 seconds. Olivia Whittier took first in the 50 freestyle at 27, almost 28 seconds. And the Thunder also received victory from Hannah Zajdik, I think I'm saying her name right, finished 500 freestyle. Allison Wheeler at the 100 backstroke, and Jade Tyler with the 100 breaststroke at about a minute. Is that a minute? Yeah. Minute 19 seconds, and also a minute 19 seconds for Wheeler. In the boys swimming, Renaissance on the flip side actually beat Turner's in boys swimming. Nick Martin and Cameron Bradley won individual events, but the Thunder fell to the Renaissance by a lot. Martin was the winner of the 200 individual medley at 2:40.22, and Bradley won the 100 backstroke at 1:06.62. Camden Bonnet finished third overall in the 100 freestyle with a time of 1:53.21. So that's Tuesday. And yeah, I haven't swam since like middle school. I don't think my high school actually didn't have a lot now that I think of it. We didn't have we did have a swim team, but we had to go to the middle school for that. We didn't actually, so yeah, we didn't have a wrestling team. We didn't have a swimming pool. So yeah, hopefully they've added some more to they built a new high school over at East Hampton a few years ago. So hopefully they've added those things. So anyway, back to business here. As we shift to Wednesday night, Mahar won over Mohawk Trail 63-40. So Mohawk fell by 23 points in this one. And a suffocating press worked wonder for Mahar. They really played well defensively in this one. Grace Poplowski was hot from the outside for the Warriors, but she got in some foul trouble. She had to sit for a lot of this game at 3 fouls early. She did finish, however, with 19 points and a few three-pointers. But unfortunately had some foul trouble, like I said. Grace Ward had 13 points for the team, for Mohawk. She played well on the glass and on defense, had 14 rebounds as well. So, yeah, amazing grace, how sweet the sound. She's probably heard that many times, so I won't make fun of her. But they had 13 points and 14 rebounds. Stella Clark, Stella! I always think of Streetcar Named Desire when I think of that name, Stella. She had 8 rebounds in that game. So some of the brighter spots anyway, but still, Mahar was too tough for them. They had a great defensive game, beat them by 23 points in this one, but at least had a couple players playing well. Pioneer played against Bay State Academy on Wednesday night, and it was a great defensive effort by Pioneer. The Panthers went on the road and held Bay State to just 2 points in the first and third quarter. I mean, I've been talking about this the whole time. Great defense by all these schools. 57-27. Whew. Blowout. Goodness gracious. Boy, this Pioneer Valley team is good. Coach Mike Churchill of the Pioneer team said, we came out in the second quarter and knew we had to have a big run if they wanted to put them away, and they did. Started out 8-0 with a big press, and we were in control. Paige Loftman and Steph Scoville dominated on both ends of the floor. Loftman had 20 points, 10 boards, and came away with 5 steals in this one. Scoville had 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks for the Panthers. Lily Fail and Charlotte Kaler had great shutdown defense all night long for Pioneer. So they were a big part of why they only limited them to 27 points. Boy, big blowout win for Pioneer. Franklin Tech beat St. Mary's 51-20. It's a great dominant performance from the Eagles. Allowed just 4 field goals early on, with 11 of the Saints' points coming from the free throw line. So they had to get to the line to have any chance to score. Another win for Franklin Tech. They picked things up in the second half. Jocelyn Crowningshield had 22 points and 6 steals, tossed out 5 assists for Franklin Tech. Jordan Hurlbert had 13 rebounds in this one, so she did great on the boards. Isabel Duga had 8 points, 5 steals, and a trio of assists. Faith Smith scored her first varsity points for the Eagles. She got a couple points and 4 rebounds, but like I said, boy, Joe Gamache has done a great job with that team all year. 12-3 now is Franklin County Tech on the season. In boys basketball, Franklin County Tech also got a win, 39-35 over St. Mary's. Coach Tim Artis was proud of his team, the way they fought until the end, despite it not being their best performance. Even though this team was not on their A game, they had a strong end of the game, a good fourth quarter, had a 14-point fourth quarter. It took a full effort from everybody, a full team effort. He's very proud of their team, and who wouldn't be if you play well late in the game. Garrett Cole had 18 points for Franklin Tech, 14 rebounds, and 4 assists. Justin Littlewood had 4 points and 10 rebounds as well. And Bailey Young dropped in 8 points and added 7 rebounds and some steals, a pair of steals, actually. And I was talking about Riley Drew a minute ago. Had another shutout win. It's later on in the week, actually. I'm thinking it happened on Wednesday night. I'll mention about it a little later on, just how big of a dominating win that was. But for wrestling, we'll shift to wrestling here for a second. Frontier was all over Athol, 42-21. So they had a great night Wednesday. Edo McMillan got a pin at 152 pounds. Victor McNutt at 138. And Casey Matson at 170 to lead the Redhawks to a 42-21 Suburban League North win. Yeah, Edo McMillan was actually on Frontier's football team this past season, which I got to announce a few games with Chris Collins. He's a very talented athlete, multi-sport athlete, plays football, wrestling, some other sports as well. Peyton Sladisky got a pin at 14 seconds in that one to help Frontier to a victory. Continuing on here Wednesday night, Turner's Falls had a big must-win. Every game from here on out is a must-win over Mohawk Trail. They were 6-8 coming into this game, but with a win over Mohawk, 61-34 was the final score in that game. They have 5 games left, and the club has to win 4 out of their last 5 games to make the playoffs. So they've pretty much got to just about run the table, or at least win 4 out of 5 to punch their ticket into the playoffs. Turner's coach Gary Mullins said, realistically, if we can get some wins in the next couple games, there's still a chance at second place in our league. The problem is we don't have much in the way of consistency at this point. Like I said, they have to just about run the table to make it into the playoffs. And he can't tell you what they're going to look like tomorrow. Well, nobody can. They got to play like there's no tomorrow. They got to treat every game like it gave us 7 to make the tournament. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Turners. They've been inconsistent this season, but can they pull it off and make the playoffs? We'll see. If they're going to make the playoffs, their intensity on defense has to be key. Let's see here. Lost my place in my papers here. Sorry about that. But anyway, Their defense is going to have to be big for turners if they're going to win. And so anyway, Brandon Driscoll had double figures with 11 points. Jaden Whiting had 8 points, contributed to the balanced offensive effort. And so yeah, we'll see what happens with turners. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to go on a run at it, but we'll see how that goes. As can they finish strong? That'll be the question. So as we shift to Thursday, last week, the Redhawks played the pesky Senators. Let's see here. The final score in that game was 54-49. Frontier wins that one. They fell behind despite a hard-charging effort from the Senators in the fourth quarter at Gressick-Bixby. I can't say that name. I had trouble saying that earlier. Gressick-Bixby Stadium. All these names in this region baffle me. Peter Carey scored 11 of his 17 points in the last quarter for Frontier. Brett Robinson tallied all 9 of his points, had a strong fourth quarter in the fourth to win by 5. And so Frontier is now 11-3 on the season, which is good. And the biggest shot in this game, you could say, was a big three-pointer by Sean Richter, which had the Hawks ahead 30-26 going into the fourth quarter. So it was a close game. They gave him a little bit of breathing room late because it was so close. And let's see here. Richter had 11 points to join Carey in double figures for the Hawks. They continue to rack up victories with 6 games remaining. Only 6 games left before the postseason. So there you have it. Honestly, there really isn't one thing they need to get better at, Ben Barczewski, their coach, said. We need to improve at everything. I mean, can you believe that? A team that's 11-3 and their coach is, I mean, he clearly has high expectations for them. You know, they're never satisfied, always looking to get better, always looking to improve their game. You know, any coach would just say, hey, we're happy with our team, with the way we're playing right now, but not when you're a Frontier. Boy, Ben Barczewski really expects a lot out of his guys. And so they're definitely a well-rounded bunch that they want to improve with everything. So that's good to see. And I mentioned her before. I'll mention it again. Katie Hazelton, just such a great athlete, having a great season for Greenfield. It was back to the Katie Hazelton show on Thursday night with a 59-47 win over Frontier Regional in the girls basketball. Hazelton finished with 34 points. Boy, what a game. Had most of the scoring in that one. Excuse me. 34 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 9 steals, and 3 blocks. Boy, she did it all. She is a stud. She accounted for 81% of Greenfield's points. I mean, she pretty much carried them. It was an important game for us, said Hazelton. For the league, we're stepping up a lot on defense and stepping up and getting easy steals, which is the key, which was providing with a lot of easy buckets. When the ball's in Hazelton's hands so much, she's either going to shoot it or dish it, Greenfield coach John Hickey said. She's an unselfish player, which says a lot about her. You know, not only is she talented offensively and defensively, but gets her teammates involved as well. That's a great player. So she's a great team player. And if people are open, she's going to get them the ball. That's what you got to do. Basketball is a team sport. She understands that. Raquel Provost, had 2 3-pointers in the early going. Tina Reed added 4 points in the first quarter, got 6 points overall. Provost finished with 12 points along the way for the Wave. And the Redhawks' best offense really was Amelia Sobieski and Caitlin Mackin. Sobieski had 15 points and had a lot of good post moves around the basket. But more about Hazelton. I mean, just everybody's just going crazy over her. She's just a star athlete. She's just so athletic. She's smart. She sees the floor. Very unselfish, like I said. She has the will to win, and she's got that look in her eye, just like the eye of the tiger, just like in Rocky. She's got that look. You know, when opponents see her, they don't want to mess around with her. So it's always interesting, you know, how teams kind of game plan against star athletes like that. How they, if they get a double team on someone, who gets open. And clearly, it's Hazelton's done a good job of getting her teammates involved since she knows the defense is going to be on her because everybody knows how good she is. So it's nice to see. Nice to see she gets her teammates involved. So that's great. So as we go on here to a little bit of ski talk here. Now, it's funny, skiing's so popular in this area. I've actually never attempted to ski, so don't anybody make me unless you pay me, because you don't want to see a little Johnny here skiing down the slopes here anytime soon. I won't be attempting that. Not into skiing, but a lot of people are, so we'll talk about that. Mohawk Trail's Taylor Loomis took home a first-place performance at Berkshire East on Thursday in sixth place in the PVIAC race with a run of 35 seconds, 35.09 seconds to be exact. He's won 5 straight races in the competition. And in second place was Frontier's Corey Ann Delaney with a time of 36.6. And those two have been neck and neck. They've been at the top all season long in the race for skiing. Mohawk's 8th grader Emmy Sissom, or Sissom, however you prefer, found her way into the top 10 with a time of 41 seconds, 41.42, good for 8th place. And her teammate Emily Roll was close behind with 41.79 seconds, finished in 11th place. So that's the news for skiing. In boys basketball on Thursday, Turners Falls beat Athol 55-45, a 10-point victory. Like I said, every game matters from here on out for Turners Falls, so they're continuing to win. They entered Thursday's game with the Red Raiders needing to win 4 of its final games, 4 of its final 5, like I said, to qualify for the tournament. Chase Novak had 18 points and 15 points from Anthony Peterson to go along with 14 rebounds. Yeah, every game is big going forward for us, the assistant coach Jay Lehman said. So that's good that Turners is stepping up big. They have to. I mean, every game is a must-win from here on out. Franklin Tech over PV Christian, dominating victory, 54-19. Came in a game when the Eagles didn't play their best in the game before against St. Mary's, and they took it all out on PV Christian. They played their A game for sure. And a win was big for Franklin Tech because it clinched them a spot in the tournament. So nice and easy win for them. They get to enjoy the victory and enjoy their moment in the sun. They make the tournament. Garrett Cole had 21 points and 19 rebounds, almost had a 20-20 game. And Bailey Young had 14 points for the Eagles. Dylan Demers had a season-high 8 points and came up with 5 rebounds and 4 steals. Hunter Wozniak had a big clutch 3-pointer and snagged 4 steals and grabbed 4 rebounds in the victory. A couple of other scores here. Pioneer beat Smith Academy 54-31, also on Thursday night. Panthers coach Scott Thayer said, we had good spirit. Always got to have good spirit, got to keep a good positive mindset. Had a good mindset going in and we had good success. So having a good positive attitude makes a difference. So there you go. Sophomore Jared Hubbard had it going from the outside for Pioneer, had 4 3-pointers and had a team-high 16 points in the win. Jaden Fox added 12 points, and Troy Eamon and Sean Allen each had 6 points for the Panthers in their win over Smith Academy. Hopkins beat Greenfield 73-64, so Greenfield unfortunately lost by 9. But Maverick Ward had a big game for the Green Wave despite them coming up a little short. He had 19 points and 14 rebounds, boy. He's a good freshman. They got some good players. They got Maverick Ward, Mason Meadows, David Carey, like I said earlier. But they couldn't stop the Golden Hawks players, unfortunately. Andrew Ciaglo and Colin Earl. Ward had 17 points in the first half alone, so he got off to a great start. Finished with 19 points overall, so did a lot of his scoring early. And it was a great atmosphere. The difference really for Hopkins was the second and third quarter, according to Greenfield coach Angelo Thomas. So that was why they were able to win. Mason Meadows also had a good game, added 17 points for the Wave. They're now 9-4 on the season. And Dave Carey had 4 3-pointers to a 14-point performance on the night. And Belchertown beat Mohawk 61-42. Anthony Moffitt had 9 points and 8 rebounds, but they fell on the road, unfortunately, to Belchertown by 19. Matt Pollen and Ruben Bassett had 11 points. Matt Pollen had 10, I should say, and Ruben had 11. Both had finished in double figures, and Sean Davenport chipped in with 8 points. To continue on here this past week, girls basketball, Frontier beat Smith Academy 52-40. The Redhawks had a great defensive game and a road win over the Smith Academy Falcons in Hatfield. Defense was again, been talking about the whole show, key to victory. They chalked up some serious steals, great defensive effort. Everybody got to play. Amelia Sobieski and Caitlin Mackin had double-doubles for the Redhawks. Sobieski had 17 points and 11 rebounds, and Mackin had 18 points and Corral 12 rebounds. So Sobieski had 17 and 11. Mackin had 18 and 12. So great to see for them. Also, this past week, Turner's Falls beat McCann Tech 40-29. Turner's was on its game in the defensive end, allowing McCann Tech to just get one point in the fourth quarter. Wow, they really clamped down on defense. Boy, almost shut them out entirely in the fourth quarter. They played a full 32 minutes, Turner's coach Ed Marvel said. All 10 players played well. Most coaches will just talk about the offense, but our defense won us this game, and I think he's exactly right. I mean, anytime a team lets a team score only 1 point in the fourth quarter, boy, that's saying something. They were just all over the rebounds, just all over McCann Tech. Very impressive. And he definitely gives his team kudos for their defense. So nice job, Turner's. Great defense in that one. Morgan Tobias had the guard, the go-to option for the Hornets, Macy Tatro. And she did a great job on Tatro, limited her to just 2 points. Impressive. Lindsay Whiteman and Carissa Fleming stepped up and smothered whatever McCann guard was able to do when they brought the ball up the court. So great team effort on defense. Now, here's what I wanted to get to about hockey. I was mentioning, Riley Drew earlier had another shutout this week. I mentioned he won 4-0 earlier. This was a dominant, just a annihilation of Southwick High School this past week. 9-0 Greenfield. 9-0. That score jumped out at me when I read that. I can't remember the last time I saw a 9-0 game in any league. Aiden Roach had a hat trick for the Green Wave, so that's what was probably the biggest reason why they were able to blow them out. So really just a dominant game in all aspects, offense, defense, and special teams. They blew them out 9-0. Riley Drew picked up his fourth straight shutout. My goodness. The kid's like a wall in between the pipes. This team is playing hard right now, Anna Bouchard said. They're playing Green Wave hockey, and if Green Wave hockey is dominance, you don't want to face them. You don't want to face them, I should say. 5 other Greenfield players found the net besides Aiden Roach. Porter Klansky, Kyle Barnes had 2 goals. Brian Bauman scored. Sean O'Sullivan and Jacob Bryant scored for the Green Wave. Sammy Knight, Kevin Bauman, Bryant, Shane Prusik also as well. And Derek Lanoy and Adam Savoy, Brian Bauman, and Robert Harris also had some assists. So a lot of scoring in that one. But still, man, 9-0. Boy, I would not want to be Southwick. I mean, that's one of those games, if you're a coach and you just know your team didn't have it, that's the game I think you just got to say, boys, forget about it. Just move on. That's literally all you have to say. Just move on. We'll play better get them next time. That's pretty much all you could say. But goodness, 9-0. I don't think I've actually ever seen a 10-0 game or 10-goal game personally. I mean, I know it's happened, but just I haven't seen it personally. So on Friday, the Pioneer beat Athol to keep their postseason hopes and dreams alive. They won 45-32 over Athol. They came out swinging this week. The Pioneer did. They started with a loss to a Frontier team, but they took it right down to the wire in this one. They went on to blow out Bay State Academy on Friday, and the Panthers fought their way to a 45-32 win over Athol. Like I said, keeping their postseason hopes alive. They're feeling pretty good about themselves right now. Coach Loffman said, "We're ready to make tournament. We need to turn up the intensity and keep going, and they think they can do it. They really want to make the tournament." And it was, well, actually, I shouldn't say, but Steph Scoville and Loffman actually scored the most for that team. They led to victory. Both finished with double-doubles on the night. Loffman scored 18 points. Steph Scoville had 12 rebounds, and Loffman had 12 rebounds, while Scoville had 11 points and 10 rebounds on the night. And, excuse me, this is the coach I wanted to mention. In his first year coach as the team, Michael Churchill said he knew it would take time for the team to buy into his system and get the message. But now that they have, now they know a tournament run is actually now in their sights. So it's good to see. Sometimes, when a new coach comes along, it takes the players a little time to buy in. But they got it going now. Is it too late? Well, maybe. Well, we'll see. But I know they want to win as many games as they can to get into the tournament. They're making changes and moving in the right direction. Like I said, new year, new coach, new philosophy. The girls are playing hard, and they're getting contributions from the bench that were struggling earlier this season. And now it's nice to see they're getting some open shots. So good for them. Good to see they're turning things around on the season. Some indoor track for you this past week on Friday night. Green Wave defeated Ludlow 64-31 and Pope Francis by the same score, 64-31 in their final regular season meeting. Forgive me, these are hard names to pronounce here. Theodore Papasoi, Crescens Jaworski, and Liviu Mihalensienso. That's it. It's hard. Foreign names are always hard to say. Sorry about that. They were the ones that were the keys to Greenfield's victory, like I said. Yeah, they had to give me the tough names this week. Yeah, Theodore Papasoi, Crescens Jaworski, and Liviu Mihalensienso. Yeah. Yeah, tough ones there. But anyway, Jaworski was the overall winner in the 55-meter dash, while Papasoi took the honors in the 600-meter run. Mihalensienso placed first in the 55 meters hurdle, with Papasoi coming in second place on the week. Mihalensienso performed well in the jumping events, grabbing a second-place finish in the high jump. I could probably attempt the high jump if I wanted to, but I can't with a microphone on me, so I won't bother to attempt with that. Placed fifth in the long jump. Papasoi took third place in the long jump. Jake Cody took seventh place in the shot put, and Andy Bostrom added the sixth place finish in the mile run for Greenfield. Bostrom also placed seventh in the 1,000 meter, and Eric Badillo was sixth in the 2 mile. Mohawk Trail over SciTech for the indoors, 54-12, including a 58-31 victory with Ludlow over Mohawk. Dennis Simmons blazed through the field in the 1,000-meter run, placing first overall for the Warriors. Simmons took second overall in the mile, and Colin Brown was third in the 300-meter race, 13th in the long jump, and finished 8th overall in the 55-meter dash for Mohawk. Athol over Pioneer, 69-23. Keegan Lutz had an 8th place finish for the Red Raiders. Athol over Pioneer, 69-23. Tough loss for Pioneer. A dominating win for Athol. The Panthers lost to the Red Raiders in their lone meeting of the season. Noah DeRuiter finished well in both distance events, placing 11th in the mile and 6th in the 2 mile. Girls track and field, Ludlow over Greenfield, 56-39. Pope Francis, 59-35 over Greenfield. Victoria Martin excelled individually in a pair of team losses, unfortunately, but she was the best one for Green Wave. Marin, I'm sorry, it looked like Martin for a second. Marin was first overall in the 55-meter hurdles. She took third in the 55-meter in the high jump, along with a 4th place finish in the long jump. Emma Savoy ran to a 5th place finish for the wave in the 1,000th meter, and Keisha Kinsmith took 6th place in the 55-meter hurdles. Pioneer over Athol, 45-39 in girls track and field. And Mohawk crushed SciTech 77-9, boy. Just incredible. Erica Schweizek and Serena Bardwell placed the Warriors in a split with the Lions and the Cybercats. Bardwell was 7th in the 55-meter dash and 3rd in the 300-meter. And Pioneer over Athol, 45-39. The Panthers picked up a win over the Red Raiders behind a 7th place finish by Samantha Baldwin in the mile. Teammates Sahina Heilman took 9th in the same event. Heilman was 13th in the high jump for the Panthers. And one more thing to get to here, the Brunel brothers have been playing outstanding in wrestling. They had big weekends for Franklin Tech. They combined to go 10-0 on the day. So they are the dynamic duo, I tell you. Josh Brunel pinned 5 opponents that day. Kyle Brunel pinned 4 opponents and also had a win via forfeit. So had an easy one, but Josh Brunel had half of those victories. My goodness. Franklin Tech fell to Southwick 46-30. Will Rosenberg, Peter Saladino, and Josh Brunel each won by fall for the Eagles in a team loss. And Rosenberg pinned Braden Winch, in 57 seconds at 106 pounds for weight. And at 126, Saladino pinned Ryan LaFerriere, while Brunel won the 132-pound match, pinning Logan Dubois. Franklin Tech falls to Duggan, 48-24. Josh Brunel and Kyle Brunel picked up the wins in that particular game, or in that match, I should say. Smith Folk over Franklin Tech, 54-18. Sabas over Franklin Tech, 46-21. Mount Greylock over Franklin Tech, 30-27. That was a little closer. Kyle Brunel's 31-second pin over Jeffrey Johnson highlighted the team's loss to the Mounties. Well, that's a long time to hold someone down on the floor. 31 seconds. That's a long time. Leominster over Mohawk, 41-36 in wrestling. Jaden Moore, Quinton Romer, and William Van Fleet won by fall for the Warriors, and the team lost to the Eagles. Romer pinned Dominic Pizzarella, while Van Fleet pinned Anthony Palmarello. Taconic over to Mohawk, 66-12. Chicopee over Mohawk, 63-12. And Mohawk falls to Shepherd Hill, 36-24 in high school wrestling. And finish up here on your scores. As we shift to skiing, Mohawk Trail's Erica Lumen placed first overall at the Berkshire Nordic Ski League race held at Prospect Mountain in Vermont on this past Saturday. Lumen crossed the finish line with a time of 17 minutes, 51 seconds. It's probably faster than I could ski. I'd probably take a lot longer. Lumen was very motivated. She put everything into it. Good for her. She had placed second in a couple previous races in the Berkshires. According to her, she waited until the climbs and some sketchy downhills went by. She wasn't too confident on those, but then she just tried to pull forward. She said she wasn't sure if people were going to take it a little easier with qualifiers tomorrow, but she just wanted to put it all out there. So she definitely gave it her all, Lumen did, which is nice to see. She won the team, Lennox won the team race on the girls' side with 24 points. Mount Greylock placed second, coming in with 34. And Mohawk Trail came in third with 62. Excuse me, Mount Greylock was second. I think I misspoke. Mount Greylock was second with 34. Mohawk was third with 62. And your final score for the week in hockey on what ended up being senior night at the Collins Moylan Arena. Green Wave got past Chicopee Comp by a final score of 5-2. No shutout this time for Riley Drew, but he didn't have to. All that matters was the win. And they had Brian Bauman scoring twice for Greenfield. Added 2 assists for Greenfield as well. They improved to 14-2 overall. Sean O'Sullivan, Derek Lanoy, and MJ Paulin had some goals as well, 1 apiece. And it was the first career goal for Mr. Paulin. Aiden Roach, Mike McGoldrick, and Jacob Bryan had 2 assists. Kevin Bauman, Shane Prusik, and Matt Wilhite, had 2 assists. Riley Drew had 20 saves in that one, and they honored all 11 seniors on their team. I'll give them a shout out here. Adam Savoy, Mike McGoldrick, Brian Bauman, Robert Harris, Matt Wilhite, Nick French, Cam Rice, Porter Clancy, Sean O'Sullivan, Trevor Baudou, and Riley Drew. All seniors, great job, boys, for your athletic careers. Riley Drew's had, like I said, a heck of a high school career. I really hope some high schools pick him up, some colleges pick him up, so that would be nice to see. As we move along here, I want to thank you all for watching in here this week. And one more time, I'll mention our sponsors. Lisa Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. Denny's Pantry on Federal Street in Greenfield. And also the 4-Leaf Clover Restaurant in Bernston, right next to Antonio's Pizza. So, as we get towards the end here this week, I want to take this time to mention that for those that have been watching our channel lately, you've noticed we've been filming our GCTV Game of the Week. And we have some big plans as far as our future goes, as far as the filming of that goes. We've been trying to get some of the local students involved over at Greenfield High School to help us film and eventually broadcast the games with us, whether it be me or Bobby C that announces them. And so I'll say this right now, if you're a parent that has a kid that is interested in a potential career as a broadcaster or even as a filmmaker, let us know. Give GCTV a call. We could set you up with Philippe Simone, who's our production coordinator, a very talented production coordinator. As far as the training goes, we're always looking for help. We're always looking for people to help us film the games this year, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, whatever, volleyball, you name it. We could always use the help. So we're looking for students to help us film with those, as well as possibly announce in the future. So if you know a kid there that wants to help us, let us know. Reach out to us. Give us a call. We're located on Main Street in Greenfield, just across from the library, if you want to check that out. But yeah, we want to get Greenfield High School involved more in the future. We'll be filming a lot more of those games over at the high school. And so we'd love to have your help. Let us know if you're interested, whether if you're a student or if you're a parent that you think someone might know of. We'd love to help. We are a community. Like I said earlier, with the co-op merge with the high schools for football, it says a lot about this community. And a big part of our station is in one of the words, C, community, Greenfield Community Television. So we're only living up to our name, and we definitely want to give the local high schools a chance. And one other thing I want to mention here before I forget, I had to mention this. Peter Bergeron, who is, you could probably make the case and say he's probably the most successful local athlete in the history of Western Massachusetts sports, or one of the most successful, will be inducted into the Western Massachusetts Hall of Fame Athletics. Congratulations, Peter Bergeron. Just an outstanding local career. One of the few local athletes that really made high school sports, or I should say professional sports, I beg your pardon, spent a number of years with the Montreal Expos, as they were known before they became the Washington Nationals. He's a Greenfield native, and I'll admit, growing up, I was a little out of the loop on local sports a little bit, but the one name I was familiar with that I knew about was Peter Bergeron. And our own Bobby C. will be at that induction ceremony on Friday night, I believe in Hatfield, if I'm not mistaken. So congratulations to Peter Bergeron, one of the most decorated local athletes in this area. So congratulations to him. And if you want to check it out, Bobby C. will be there. He coached Bergeron earlier in his career as a Little League coach for so many years. So congratulations, Peter Bergeron. You definitely earned that honor. So that's going to put the wraps on this week for the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Hopefully Bobby will be back with us next week, fully rested and back to 100%. For everybody involved with this one at GCTV and for all of our sponsors, I'm John Meisner. Catch me on my podcast, Sports and Stuff, on Exquisite Podcast Radio Network. And you can also listen to me in the future as we call our GCTV Game of the Week. For Philippe Simone and our hardworking staff here at GCTV, this is John Meisner signing off for the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Take care, everybody. Have a great week and catch a game. So long. Thanks for watching the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report on GCTV. Catch a game and be sure to join us next time for more sports and fun.